Hello YouTube, this is Chris. Jesus Christ. Guaism Custom Works. Not really used to saying that. Still baffles me that I actually have my own business now doing this stuff. But yeah, this is my first YouTube video. Hopefully won't be the last one. I hope I'm not too embarrassed by the way I sound on camera. Basically, anytime you make a video or audio or something, you sound different to everyone else than you do to yourself, which is always kind of startling. But anyways, I'm going to talk a little bit about how I got into knives, how I got into making custom knives, why I'm so picky with everything, and yeah, let's get started on that. I'm a checklist, make sure I don't ramble, because I know for a fact that if left unscheduled and unorganized, I will ramble like crazy until morning, most likely. So I'm going to start off with this right here, little production knife. Just ignore the two monsters in the background. This is the knife that basically got me started on my path to making custom knives. That in combination with some people I was watching on YouTube at way back in the day, like when I'm still in 9th grade and I'm a sophomore in college now. I used to watch Tough Thumb's channel all the time. I was really depressed back in 9th grade, and it's like the only thing I looked forward to each day was watching Jeff's upload at the end of the day, and really got a lot of influence from that and the way he does things and such. But anyways, this was the first high-end knife that I ever really had. Spyderco Chalkaway. Really awesome knife, by the way. CPM S30V blade, nice thin blade stock, full flat grind, had a thin edge, but it's been sharp. It's been so many times that the edge has gotten pretty thick. I really need to get around to regrinding it sometime. Titanium frame lock, fantastic. Had a black G10 scale, but I pimped it due to some inspiration I got with a blue micarta scale. I actually made this micarta myself. It's actually pretty bad. Like, there's imperfections all over the place. It's a big gap in the hand. Yeah, right there in the handle. But it was alright. This was like 5 years ago when I did this. It's been around for a long time. This was probably a year before the first knife I ever made, which was, oh man, that thing is, it's ugly as hell, but I love it. I love it to death. But the reason I like this one so much was because of just the shape and the design. It's totally different. It's traditional. I keep bumping the camera by accident. It's traditional. It's very functional, even though it looks kind of strange. It just fits really well in the hand and a nice relaxed grip. Fine tip for good dexterity. Nice and thin here, so you can do pairing cuts really well. But at the same time, you can bear it down and the edge isn't too far ahead of the top of the handle, so that you lose cutting leverage. Just a fantastic knife all the way around, and it was really interesting that I liked it so much, because I'm extremely picky when it comes to knives that I like. I mean, productions, less so than customs, because customs are, well, expensive as hell, and if I'm going to spend all that money, I may as well, well, I really have to like it to justify spending all that money. Let's see, what's next on my list? So the first thing I thought when I got this was, oh, it's fantastic. It's got a nice large blade, 3 3/4 inch, a size I liked at the time. Now I consider it small. I mean, this is like a little baby knife compared to what I make now. I mean, this stuff, I'm used to this, is like an average size. As I got older, I started wanting bigger blades, and I couldn't find anything that was big that wasn't cartoonish. I mean, the cold steels are cool, yeah, but they're kind of cartoony, and I don't like Aussate steel. I also prefer these kind of locks when it comes to just using them. The back locks. Back locks are kind of, this is not my thing. Well, after watching Jeff's videos for a while, I saw him start making some knives and decided, you know, maybe I'll give it a shot. I made a fixed blade, and it was great. I loved the hell out of it. And then I said, well, what if I made a folder? And it seemed like such an insane plunge into, like, just headaches and migraines all over the place on paper, just trying to come up with a design that worked and that looked good at the same time. And the first thing that I came up, and this was the inspiration, as you can't obviously tell by these two, that, I mean, same blade shape basically, just with a few modifications. I thought to myself, well, what if this was just bigger, like it had a 5-inch blade? I was like, ooh, I like that. And a flipper, I like that even more. And the harpoon, oh, it was fantastic. And it just spiraled out of control from there. And I settled on doing a frame lock or liner lock instead of a frame lock because I didn't know how to do frame locks. I didn't have a bandsaw at the time, so I couldn't really cut out titanium very easily. I just had a hacksaw and little cut-off discs. And it was a pain in the ass just to do this, even though this titanium is about as thick as this stuff. Or not quite as thick, but it's pretty close. I'm looking through the viewfinder, so it's kind of tricky. It's pretty close. But anyways, what precipitated from those ideas was this. Not this specific iteration. This is the second blade this knife has had. It's had about 7 or 8 stop pins. Pretty much the only original parts are the frames, scales, and backspacer. Everything else has been changed. Even the pocket clip, all the screws, not the pivot. The pivot's been the same. I made a lot of mistakes when I first did this knife. Like, I didn't put the cutout in here for the lock so it could move over, accommodate for the extra height of the detent ball. I set the lock and it was like over halfway with an insane amount of pressure. I pretty much had to use a screwdriver to torque it over every single time, and as you can see, not a problem anymore. Flips good. Has a little bit of side play, actually, which probably is the reason why it doesn't sound very good on opening. Yeah, that's a little better. That's a lot better, actually. It was rattling a little bit. No play up and down, side to side, although one time it did cut me pretty nasty right there. Might be hard to see. Trying to get this to focus there. Yeah, nice scar. It was pretty bad. I mean, it was a good scar. I was like, ooh, that's a good one, but it was pretty bad. Yeah, so this is the second blade this knife has had. Oh, the first one, oh, it was horrendous. This piece of junk, D2 blade, went out for heat treat, came back and was not really even treated at all. Not the guy's fault. It was someone else that, yeah, it's rusty because it's been sitting in a bin for like 2 years now or more. Let's stretch for a second. So yeah, there's that. That's the first folder I made. It's not bad for a first folder. Had a lot to be improved on, and a lot that I fixed from this knife to this knife, which was Gen 2, and pretty much bigger in every single way. Upgraded to a 1/4-inch pivot. First time doing bolsters. Really like the color theme of it. It's like an old harpoon kind of thing. It used to have a steel lock side. Used to be a frame lock. It's now what I'm calling a scale lock, unless someone else has done this and has a name for it already. Basically, it's a frame lock that has a scale on the side, all attached with screws from the inside, just sanded flush. But this was I really loved this knife when it was done. Oh, it was gorgeous. It had a satin blade. It had like an etched blackened flats. It had a flipper as well. I took the flipper off because I kind of like it better without it. It's more utility. And as you can see, it's been beat to hell, but I use this knife for everything. I chopped with it. I've pried apart pieces of G10 with it. One time I took my rage out on a piece of scrap G10. As you can see, ruined a lot of the finish, but it's fine. It's my knife. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's really smooth, actually. This knife is really, really smooth. Even though it's got those old crappy bearings in there that I don't use anymore. But I love this knife. It's fantastic. I still carry this knife pretty much every day. This is the knife I grab when I'm looking to just cut, or when I'm looking to, I've got my rough and dirty tasks, and I need something that I can get dirty and not really care about if it gets scratched up or anything. But since this, I've made so many improvements. I don't really have any knives that I can show right now, other than one I'm going to do in a later video. I'll explain all that as well later, not here, because this is already almost 10 minutes and I've gotten through almost nothing on the sheet. Basically, I got into making custom knives because I'm extremely picky. I don't know if I've said that already. Just everything has to be just perfect. The design needs to be just right. Execution, handles, mechanics, everything. I'm even more picky now than I used to be. It's insane. After all, I've been to 2 custom knife shows already, and there's only two people I would seek knives from currently, knives that they would build like right now, and everyone else is usually knives that have been done in the past, and even then it's only 3 or 4 makers. I'm extremely picky. But I really wanted a collection, so I said, well, if I can't buy the knives that I want because they're not there, well, I'll just make them myself. I mean, I have ideas as to what I like, because I almost cut my thumb wide open. I have ideas as to what I like, I just can't find it. So, well, if they're in my head, then I can probably turn them into something, and that's exactly what I did here. This was a dream. When I first made this one, this was a dream in my head, and I was so ecstatic when I was in the process of making it. Like, I would be up until 3 hours past my bedtime just because I was so excited that it was actually going to be a real thing, and loved the hell out of this knife for a long time. Retired now because the other ones I have are better, safer, better mechanics and everything. So yeah, that's how I got into making custom knives, and I'm incredibly happy to be where I am now. I mean, I've got order books, never thought I'd have those, and just making whatever the hell I want now. All the headaches I used to have with designing, I don't have anymore. Once I wrap my head around all the rules you need for folders, which I do want to cover in a video, because folders are not really easy to get into. Once you get wrap your head around everything, then it's good. But that first stage is, it's tough. It's really tough. A lot of migraines. So what's to come in the future is, just that video talking about mechanics. I have some other knives that I have that I'd like to cover. I have my Grail knife, which I've been searching for like 3 or 4 years. I mean, as picky as I am, I've always wanted one of these, and I finally got the chance to get one. It's this guy. Jens Anzo Amok. Full size. Like almost a 6-inch blade. Frame lock. Gorgeous, gorgeous knife. Really love this thing. Had a few mechanical problems, but I took care of those best I can. I'll talk about this later. So yeah, that's what's up to come. I'm working on a run of custom knives right now. One of which is kind of like this. It's better with a 7-inch blade, flipper, washers, scale lock. Pretty much the same color scheme with black micarta instead of G10. Oh, it's going to be amazing. I'm so jealous that it's not mine, actually. Guy who wants it is insane. He's got 3 of my knives already. One of which I made for my girlfriend, and decided I would take back because, well, she didn't respect it. Basically cut a pizza with it the day I gave it to her. Threw it in her purse. Never touched it for months. Found it again, caked in rust. I did not let her see it again after that. The first full titanium frame lock I ever made, he's got that one as well. He has the one that I made to replace this one I called Havoc. Same color scheme, same material as well. Titanium, liner lock, OD green, G10, spring steel blade. That was a really good knife. I do miss that one a lot. Really good design on that one. Very useful. If I were to decide, I do have plans for an updated one with better mechanics, just for myself. I don't ever want to make the same knife twice because, well, I want to do everything by hand. And if I can do everything by hand, then I might as well just make everyone as unique as possible. So, like, this isn't a bit of an exception, but these really are 2 different designs. I mean, if you look at them, they are similar, but at the same time, they're very different. This one's more of an elegant shape, whereas this one's more brutish and, like, battle-worn. Reminds me of, like, an old whaling harpoon, especially with that wide, thick blade. But any time a knife goes out the door, it's got to be different than... I hate this song. It's got to be different than... this one's not good either. This is Edison glass. I was turned on to it by, guess who? Oh, seriously, yes. Good band, not claiming it to be mine or anything. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, every knife is different. So each knife is its own design. I don't make the same knife twice. Like the guy's Instagram tag, I think, is Knife Knowing Ya. He's getting the one kind of like this, similar color scheme, but the blade's 7 inches long. It's basically a steroidal version of this, as if this wasn't already steroidal. But I don't make the same knife twice because, well, I just don't want to, and I'm sick and tired of people saying that, oh, I make one-offs. and it's like they made 50 knives of that design, and each one is just finished a little differently. That's not a one-off, okay? That's like semi-custom, honestly, because you're getting the same design over and over again, just finished a little differently. I mean, you may as well have the same painting just with different color schemes, like honestly. So I want to do something different. And so each knife is its own design. It's not something I see a lot of people doing. Actually, I don't think I have any makers that come to mind that are doing that. It's tough to do because, well, you gotta engineer each and every single one. You can't just design one and make 50 knots. You have to be working just as hard on each one as on the next one, design-wise, I mean. But it's something different, and it's something that I really want other people to experience, because people do have ideas of their own, and makers sometimes just don't want to make it, but I want to change that for people. If you got an idea you want to get made, then, well, I'm one of the guys who can do it. Assuming it's mechanically feasible, of course. I mean, I can't have like a shovel and like a toothpick handle. It just won't work like that. Exaggerated, but some people's designs are a little don't really have a lot of design sense. Not to be mean or anything, it's just kind of true. Love the sound this one makes. It has this harmonic. It's like a thunk and like a clack. It's fantastic. So that's what's to come. Gonna be covering each and every knife in the build once they're done. And yeah, gonna be talking about mechanics, some of the knives that I have, some ones that I maybe want to acquire, probably not, because they'll probably change. I'm always changing, pretty much always changing. Like each day I've got new thoughts in my head as to what I want to make and things like that. So yeah, that's first video. Comment what you guys want to see, if you want to see anything, or if you just want me to just stop, you tell me if you want to. If you want me to, just be nice about it is all I request. Other than that, that's I think all I got. And of course I rambled and went way over the list that I had, but that was probably going to happen anyway. So, see you guys. Thanks for watching.